Support for this episode is provided by Mohawk Finishing Products. I've been using Mohawk Finishing Products for more than 30 years. From sandpaper to fill sticks, Mohawk has all your finishing needs. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the shop. Well, we've got a pretty rainy, soggy fall day here, and if you can hear that sound, that's the rain bouncing off the metal roof of the shed. As you can see, I've started another project in the barn, and I'm kind of in this mode of wrapping all the loose ends up of these projects and getting the shop as efficient and organized as I possibly can. And with that in mind, I visited my friends over at Green Street Joinery earlier this week and went on a shop tour. It's given me some great ideas of how I want to reorganize the workflow of my shop, and I hope it does the same for you.
Hi guys, this is Rich, this is Jeff, this is Rob. We're here from Green Street Joinery, that's our company. And we're here to give you a tour of the shop, and I'm going to let Jeff take care of that. So, see you later.
Alright, so we're here in Port Monmouth, New Jersey. We're a design build shop, so we build custom furniture and cabinetry. We do all the design and everything here ourselves. So when material comes in, it gets stored here in our woodshed. See, we have a lot of different lumber, some 8-quarter cherry, plywood, or quartered oak, maple, some more plywood and stuff. So once the wood comes in, it gets stored here, and then when we're ready to use it, it comes into the shop. So typically the first thing we'll do is we'll break down the rough lumber here at the chop saw. This is a 12-inch Hitachi that we actually got from a friend. We had a DeWalt for a long time, but it finally gave up the ghost. We got this. It's working really well for us. You can see we have dust collection on all the tools, so we try and keep the dust to a minimum, try and keep the blast gates accessible. So after things are broken down rough, we come here to the joiner. This is an Oliver 4240 that we actually upgraded with a Sheelix spiral cutter head. So you can see here it's a series of small carbide cutters, much quieter, much cleaner than straight blades. So what we do is we'll face join our boards, and then they come over here to the planer. This is a Yorkcraft 20-inch. You've probably seen a lot of different planers that look just like this. So the Grizzly, the Shop Fox, and the Jet are all basically identical to this. It's called a standard 4-post planer. So this is a 20-inch with a Lux Cut spiral cutter head. Super quiet, leaves a great finish. So after we plane, we head back to the joiner to joint edges, and then we come here to the saw stop. So this is our 3-horsepower industrial cabinet saw. This is probably our newest tool. It's probably our favorite tool. Very quiet, very safe, strong. We do a lot of ripping of hardwood, so you need to have a strong saw. We have this crosscut sled, or crosscut fence rather. So we're able to crosscut about 39 inches, and as wide as we can fit over here. So we use this to cut all of our door material to size. We crosscut plywood here. It has a 52-inch fence, so we can get nice wide pieces. We have another table saw here. This is a 3-horsepower Delta Unisaw. On this, we run a dedicated dado blade. So this is a Ridge Carbide Super Dado Master. Goes up to about 1 inch, from 1/4 inch to 1 inch. We build all of our doors on the dado saw, so it's very important that we have a good saw and a good blade. Some peripheral tools. We have a 38-inch double drum sander back here. This is a Woodmaster. Made in the United States. Great tool. A little finicky, but works well for bringing things to a consistent thickness. So it has 2 drums. We have 100 and 120 grit. I have my bench back here. We keep our hand tools at our individual benches. I happen to be right next to our clamp collection. A lot of Bessies, a lot of 24s, 30s, a couple Jorgensens mixed in, and some bigger Bessies over there. A little bit of extra wood storage. We like to bring things in and season them, let them come to the right humidity before we use them. We have a conditioned shop, so it's air conditioned in the summer and it's heated in the winter. That way you know, things aren't moving when they get into someone's home. Over on this side, we have Rich's bench right here, and our drill press. Drill press doesn't get a whole lot of use, but it's great for drilling nice straight holes and, you know, finished pieces and cutting plugs, things like that. Over on this side, we have Rob's bench right here. Nice big heavy bench. Probably my favorite bench in the shop. Grizzly Bandsaw here, 17-inch. We use this for resawing, cutting curves. A lot of jig making goes on here, stuff like that. And this is really where everything starts initially. We do all our design on SketchUp and on Fusion 360, so we spend a lot of time on the computer. Not necessarily drawing here a lot. We pull up our drawings on the TV here, straight from the computer. We can work for them right there. But we're Mac guys here, so we draw on our Macs, and that's what we build from. So,
Well, it's a beautiful shop. What is the size?
this shop is just under 900 square feet. So the outside dimensions of the building are 24 by 36. So we're coming in around 890 square feet, I believe.
I think that's a great size, 24 by 36.
Yeah, yeah. So this is actually an Amish pole barn. So the sides were put up. It was run with furring on the inside, sheetrock, and then the slab was poured. So we actually have dust collection underneath of this table that comes up here and goes to our dust collector, which is actually in a separate room in the back.
Which is really nice. So a little forethought there, running the ductwork before the slab was put down.
Right.
So this building was built with a shop in mind.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, we have 220 electric coming up here in the center. Really a lot better than having everything come from the ceiling.
Absolutely. With my shop, I can go into the floor because it's on 2x6 joists.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm going to have to do soon. So your saw stop is connected to 220?
Yes. Yeah, so this is as most cabinet saws are, 220. You know, this is a 3 horsepower. We went, originally the Delta was our main table saw. We had a 5 horsepower unisaw. That was our dado saw. That was a 3-phase saw that we had on a phase converter. So the phase converter started to go, and rather than invest in a new one, which is, you know, upwards of the price of a new table saw, we decided to swap and put a new saw stop here. So,
Other than the safety feature, why did you go with saw stop?
safety feature was definitely the top reason, but this sliding table was definitely at the top of our list. We wanted something where we could cross cut easily. You know, typically we would use something like this. This is from Rockler, made by Jessam up in Canada. So this is the Rockler Miter XL. This is what we used to cross cut everything with.
What a difference.
So going from this to a ball bearing table like this is a huge upgrade. I mean, this thing slides so smooth. You can see it's full of dust and it's still.
That's really nice. I don't have the space for that. That's the only thing
They have an even larger one that we would have loved to get, because you can do, I think, almost a full 4x8 piece of plywood with that one, but it would have come out too far. We're in a constant battle of what we can fit comfortably in the shop, because you can see here we have our sanding cart here, and this is the cart with our finishing material in it. Once you get some cabinets in here, the space is, it really gets a lot smaller. So we're in a constant battle of paring down what we do have and trying to choose what's going to serve us best sort of in this space.
And I know from your Instagram, this is a new build. You want to show it to me? Open up the drawers.
This is, we have a fine Turbo 2 in here, which is our main sander or our main vacuum for sanding. So in here we have all of our disc sandpaper. We like the Mirka Nova Star. It's nice. It's actually like a plastic backing, so it's way less prone to ripping. Actually, Mirka makes all the sandpaper for Festool, which is, we use some Festool sandpaper as well. We have our hand sandpaper here. Big drawer for not so much stuff, and some other odds and ends here, little sanding guards, vacuum bags, stuff like that. have my little saloon doors, I
I
call
like
them here.
that.
So you can
That's a nice touch.
pull the vac out, but if you're sanding, it won't, you know, because we've had the vacuum get pulled out and
Sure.
fall over. Originally, the cabinet before was all closed up and we had a fan. So on this one, I decided to just keep the whole side open so that the fan can get, or the vacuum can get some good ventilation. On the back here, we actually have
Oh, nice.
some of the sanders. We have the 6-inch Rotex here, 2 Pro 5 LTDs and 1 ETS 125 EQ. We had some others that actually finally died after about 20 years. So we're looking to invest in maybe 1 or 2 more. It's good to have a lot of sanders because some days all 3 of us are sanding for almost an entire day. So
Absolutely. That's part of woodworking for sure.
then we have 2 of these new Festool Ct-15s. These are like our bench vacuums. So these are good for running the Festool Domino, sander, any sort of that thing that you're doing at your own bench. So they're small, they're portable. We have 2 of these.
We just talked about, well, you just talked about sanders and the Domino. Let's talk about some tools that aren't the bigger tools like the sander and the table saw, and see what you would think would be sort of your go-to tools to get a project done. They don't have to be in that order, but you kind of know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I mean, first thing I think of, this comes out on every single job. So this is a Lee Nielsen, I'm not sure what they're calling this. It's not the block plane, but it's sort of like a pocket plane, just a small sort of 1.5-inch blade for breaking edges, cleaning up edges. This is great. When we're building doors, I pull this out a lot. This is the medium shoulder plane from Lee Nielsen. So we tend to leave the fit a little bit tight on the tenons of our doors. That way we can fine tune them with a shoulder plane.
What does the small Lee Nielsen plane go for around?
I think it's about $125, I want to say.
It's funny because it is a small plane, and I reach for my little Stanley block plane all the time, but this does have a nice feel. It's kind of got a special quality to it.
Yeah, and the bronze, it just, you know, looks so nice.
You just like using it.
Yeah, I mean, you have to enjoy your tools and enjoy what you do. So if you enjoy it a little bit more, you're gonna put out a better product. So
Sure.
I tend to invest my money, you know, in tools that I like, and if it's something I need, well, I'll spend the money up front to get something that's good and something that'll serve me for a long time. So
I've noticed that most of your cordless tools are Bosch.
yeah, we run the Bosch 12 volt here for our drills. So we keep at our bench, we each keep a drill and a driver, fuller bits and snappy bit holders. That's what I like. I keep under here a 18 volt Makita. This is for, you know, larger bits. If you need to drill with a hole saw, not at the drill press, this is good. And this, actually, the Frankenstein Ryobi with Makita battery. Hot glue is nice. We use it to attach drawer heads. You know, that way we can shim the drawer head, we'll hot glue it on, and then come back with screws.
Cordless hot glue gun, that sounds like something I need.
Yeah, and for $30, the Ryobi is pretty good.
Yeah.
We also have a Makita Track Saw here. It's the dual 18 volt track saw. We use this a lot for installs, first of all, and for plywood. So because we only have a 39-inch crosscut capacity on the saw, sometimes we'll break down sheet goods before they make it into the shop, just to make it a little more manageable.
You like the Makita better than the Festool?
So I had the Festool Ts55, which is the corded Festool track saw, and I actually traded it for this. I much prefer this saw. A, because it's cordless, and it actually has a lot more power, believe it or not. Something I read was cordless, because it's DC, I believe, can give more power than a corded tool. I'm not sure if that's the truth, but
What was the price on that?
it's about a $500 saw.
With the track?
Yes.
That's not bad.
Yeah. So we have a 55-inch track in here, and we have a 110-inch track outside. So we can make a nice straight rip on the plywood, bring it in, and we have a nice straight edge.
You want to show me what you're working on now?
Yeah. So here's a Sapele barn door that we have all dry fit. We're waiting on some confirmation of measurements before we're actually going to paint this. This is getting painted black, Benjamin Moore Advanced Matte Black. So before we assemble this, we'll paint all of these pieces because these are actually tongue and groove. So these pieces have a groove on the bottom and a tongue on the top. So these are all fit together, and they fit into a tongue and groove here on the side, or a mortise and tenon you would call it for a door, so that you can see the door construction here. All the joinery on this was cut on the dado blade. Typically we keep a 3/8 in there because we cut a 3/8 dado for our backs and cabinets. We use 3/8 backs, but right now I think we have a 1/2 inch on there. I use that to cut the groove in these. These are 3/4 of an inch. This is 1.5 inches, 1 3/8.
So the question that's going to come up is, since this is being painted, why Sapele?
The client on this job was looking for some grain to show through the paint. We went with Sapele. You know, we gave her a couple samples. We did a walnut sample and we did a Sapele sample. She wasn't a big fan of the cathedraling in the walnut, so we went with this quarter sawn Sapele, which is super straight, but it has all of these little, you know, open grain areas, so you'll have some nice texture to the wood. So yeah, thanks for checking out the shop. You can find us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook at Green Street Joinery. We shoot a podcast back here at my bench every Wednesday, so you can find that on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, and any podcast app that you like. It's called the American Craftsman Podcast. So yeah, check us out.
I really enjoyed meeting the guys and getting a good look at their shop, and it gave me some really good ideas for my shop, and I hope it gave you some for yours. One thing that stands out is the face-to-face table saws. I just like that idea of having one saw set up with a designated dado blade, and then the main saw being a saw stop, which makes a lot of sense because of the safety features. If you're wondering what I'm doing here, I'll be talking about that next week. I had to build a temporary wall because I have to replace the sill plate or the sole plate in the south side of the barn wall. And one other thing I wanted to mention is definitely check out Green Street Joinery's Instagram, their YouTube channel, and their podcast. Their podcast is a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. It's basically 3 woodworkers just shooting the breeze, talking about tools. One of my favorite parts is their gripe of the week. So that could be a tool, that could be a finish, whatever. I just find it funny to hear the 3 guys kind of go back and forth about real things. So very authentic, very real. I think you'll enjoy it. Click on the link in the description and check it out. As always, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Before you start your next project, click on the link in the description for my professional woodworking plans and build a piece of furniture that will last a lifetime.